Hello and welcome to Set Talks, the podcast that helps you navigate and connect with the Colorado film scene. Today's guest is Brandon Naughton. He is the president of the Colorado Film and Video Association, the acronym CFVA. The CFVA serves the professional media industry by offering educational opportunities, promoting its members, and growing connection and community to build a stronger industry in our state. Great organization.
Yeah. Cool.
Thanks a lot for coming on the show, Brandon.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
How are you doing? Did you see some, I know this will play after the Denver Film Festival, but have you seen some good films this week?
Haven't had a chance to actually catch anything, but been going to the parties. So just getting to know folks and meet people in the industry is great. And just building those relationships, I think, is key, especially for anyone out there. Like if you're a student, you know, if you've been in the industry for a long time, like nothing beats just being in the scene and getting out there and getting to meet people and shake hands and exchange info.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, that opening night party was pretty cool. What a
Yes.
sweet spot.
Yeah.
I got to go back to that.
I know.
What was it? The Mockingbird.
The Mockingbird, yeah.
That was cool. Yeah.
Really good spot.
Cool. Well, no, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. And yeah, the CFVA is definitely, any video professional should know about it and get
Yes.
involved if they can. But before we get into the CFVA, can you tell me about just like your filmmaking experience?
Sure.
Just kind of soup to nuts, and ultimately like what led you here and to become the president of the CFVA.
Yeah. Let's see. The best way to put it is, everybody in this industry kind of gets there in a different way. You know, everyone wants to have some kind of cookie cutter way, like go to film school or whatnot, and get here. But I would say I started out when I was in high school, lucky enough that they had, and I was in Florida, Lake Region High School had a television program, right? So it was called like LRTV or something, like Region TV.
Nice.
And, I was like, oh, that sounds really cool. Let's try it. And they had a whole facility where you'd live switch and, the green screen, and we had fun with all that kind of content. And we started doing stuff for Fox 13 magazine is what they called it. And so on Saturdays, your content would actually be seen on real TV on the weekends and go out for the world. And so I was like, this is, amazing. And so I just really dove into that and ended up kind of taking over the program as one of the leads. And I helped the teacher. I was like the teacher's pet.
Cool.
Doing as many things as I could. I did everything from 3D graphics to sound to video editing. We were doing tape like deck to deck, like just.
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
I did the same thing.
You're just kind of getting into everything. And then all of a sudden, my one teacher was doing, he was doing the TV program and the theater program. So he's like, can you program lights? Yeah, whatever. He just went in there and started programming lights and sound effects. And so I really got into theater and then also in the film and TV. And just really, loved it. And so I was in Florida and I was looking for programs, and CU Denver had a really great program for sound mixing. And I've always been a musician, and I always wanted to do like sound effects and sound design. And I, love Star Wars and,
Totally.
just the creation of sound and surround sound. I was like, oh, I want to mix surround sound. I want to mix a movie in surround. And so I really kind of fell in love with that one niche aspect of it. And so I, moved out here in 2002, I believe it was, and went through the program and graduated in 2003. I had my associates from when I was in Florida. I kind of was dual enrollment and stuff, and came out here and just loved the environment of Colorado, and really went into surround sound and post-production, where at a time in 2002, it was mostly music. Everybody was doing, music, cutting to tape, Pro Tools, the transitions to digital were happening. And so I really just dove into post-production. I was like, I love editing for TV and film. And that really helped because when I got out of, before I was out of school, I was working for Postmodern and different companies in town, doing various projects that were going on the big screen. Even there was some Disney horse documentary thing that went out on, the big screen. I was like, cool. I was doing all the sound design, the horse sniffs and the hooves and all that. It was, it was a dream come true.
That's awesome. I'm with you on
school,
that.
It's just when you kind of start. And so I got my bachelor's of science in music.
Okay.
And I do film and stuff. So it's just really weird the path that can take you, into film. And so I just kind of worked my way into doing a multitude of things. Eventually, really started different businesses. Got into the kind of the corporate end of it and the business side of it.
Sure.
I ended up working for Stars, the movie channel, for 13 and a half years doing post audio.
Oh wow! Just remotely, or
No, yeah. Here
did they have a?
Yeah, we had a facility in down near Parker.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, I worked there 13 and a half years mixing sound. We started stereo, tape, betas, digibetas, HD-Cam, like D5s.
That's cool,
we
man.
did every tape deck possible and went digital completely. And so I've seen kind of the whole transition of the industry and, made some great relationships. Everybody I know from there just top notch, if you need a producer, an editor, anything you need. So that kind of helped me on the business side when I launched multiple companies and stuff. And
that's awesome.
So yeah, you kind of pick up every trade. I mean, I've done DP work. I was a photographer, when I was in Florida. So I used to do a lot of photography, about lenses, depth of field. But then got into Steadicam work, and I love doing it for like my stuff mostly now, not as a full-time job. Some people just love Steadicam, that's what they want to do.
Sure.
And I bless them, but it's wear and tear on your back. So I'm like, I want to do it for my stuff. But I did it for a while, and then directing, like I directed 2 comedy specials. And just a variety of projects.
So like some like live comedy specials?
Yeah, live comedy specials with cold opens. So we like designed the whole cold open, and just like it was all, actors and, scripted. So it was really fun.
That's awesome. I actually love doing like the switcher job like Megan is doing over here.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, although I've only ever done it in college, like for like live events and stuff, but I do enjoy it. And sound effects too. Like I've got a couple of my early short films that I recorded silent.
Oh,
and
nice.
then I did ADR for all of it, and then did all the sound effects and stuff. So like, definitely a huge appreciation for sound design and whatnot. But what led you to get involved with like CFVA and then ultimately become the president and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I started, like I said, I was out here working in 2003. And I would say, I think I joined in 2006 or 7, somewhere around that time. Just wanted to kind of be a part of the scene and be around. And it was totally different back then, and, there's a lot of actors, producers, directors, and, the scene was a little different at the time, and just really enjoyed it. But then, you just get busy, and I was working for Stars full time, so I just kind of was raising the family and doing all that kind of stuff. And so kind of drifted away for a while. And then I launched Truce Media, my company, in 2019 here in Denver. And we built out a studio, and we got everything built out. A December party, we had a huge launch. It was like January, we're ready to go in 2020, and then pandemic, right? So we're just like, I don't know. So we started doing a lot of virtual things. And I knew Shauna and kind of met Shauna from Mass Effects. And they were on the board of the CFVA, and I was like, you know what, I've got time, I'm at home, let's look into this again. And I was like, hey, yeah, I'll join. And then became a board member. So then just kind of got my feet wet back then in 2021, and just kind of worked on the board. And I did events, and I've done treasurer and VP, and now president. And I always tell people, if you're on the board long enough, you will be president. And so that kind of what happened, I think.
That's awesome, man. Cool. Well, yeah, for people that don't know too much about like the CFVA, like, can you walk me through what it is?
Yeah.
Maybe like some of the history too. Like, when do you know when it got started, and kind of how has it evolved over the years?
I always had to look it up, and now I think I'll totally remember this. I can't believe it, but the CFVA was started on July 15th, 1982.
You're right. I know it's been around for like ever, right?
Yeah, it's been a long time, which is funny because I started Truce Media July 15th of 2019.
Something about that date.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's a really weird coincidence. It was just a random day too. I just went online and filed it. But so it started back in the 80s. And really, I mean, you look at like Matlock and Murder, She Wrote, and a lot of these productions were being done here in Colorado. I mean, tons of Westerns. There's a huge history here when it comes to film. And a lot of that went away with the amendment. I believe it was Amendment 2. There was an issue. So what happened is they had a anti LGBTQ policy. It was like Amendment 2 back then that got voted in and actually got approved by the voters in the state, and they had an amendment that was just discriminatory. And so Hollywood is like, we're pulling out. And what happened is, like, I think a month or two after it actually passed, it was struck down by the Supreme Courts and stuff because of those issues. And,
wow. But the deed was done.
Yeah, the deed was done. It caused, irreparable damage. A lot of the senators and the government back then was like, well, then, screw Hollywood. We hate that. We don't want to deal with these rich, babies that, believe in,
I didn't know that, man.
Yeah.
It's
a huge issue of why the film industry just completely collapsed out here.
That's wild. I don't mean to laugh. It's just kind of gnarly.
It is, yeah.
I
mean, they were coming out here, like, they wanted to, like, the stars and stuff loved living out here, and it was away from all the hustle and bustle of Hollywood, and they could kind of, get away and then do all these TV shows and all these things. So that was a huge part of kind of the history of Colorado.
Damn.
But then also, then at the same time after that happened and the damage was done, you had the film incentives, start cropping up, where it was a new concept back then, back in the 90s and the early 2000s too, of, hey, Atlanta's now opening up hundreds of millions of dollars in tax credits, and so they could sell those and get money back. So that just started pulling money out, completely. So really the CFVA from the 80s until, I'd say late 90s and early 2000s was really centered around the production guide. So the Colorado production guide, you paid your dues, you got in the guide, you could pay a couple $100 more and get a, half page, quarter page. And that guide was sent to every producer around the country, so when somebody was coming into Colorado, they went there first and they would go, oh, there's my lighting company, there's my, audio person, everything was kind of in that book. And so then you've got, Google coming in the 2000s, and really getting by 2010, people were like, we don't need this anymore. And they were like pretty much against printing a Colorado production guide because they just were being found online. And so everybody switched to online. And so that kind of killed the production guide, which kind of killed a lot of membership for the CFVA when there was, 1,000 members, like 2,000 members or so. So a big organization like that was doing a lot of parties, a lot of networking, a lot of events. So, it's funny because everything that's old becomes new again. People literally, have asked us constantly, like, well, wouldn't it be nice if there was like this thing, like a guide where people could find people in Colorado to do work? And
Sure.
Like, yeah, you mean like a Colorado production guide that we used to have?
Yeah.
Yeah, but what's great is the state has taken upon itself, the film office now has a production guide. So we're working with them to kind of get everybody on it. All of our members and any member out there to get on the production guide there. So they vetted them to make sure you have like, general liability for insurance, like just stuff like that you have to kind of submit to them. And then they'll get your company, if not yourself, approved on there. And then, people can find you that way. But yeah, I mean, it actually would be more beneficial to have a solid printed guide that goes to high level producers around the country, because when they have that, they're going to go there first.
Right. No, I've heard that now there's kind of, it's split and there's like kind of two guides, because you guys still have one on your website.
Yeah.
And whatnot.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. But then there's this other one that was made. So it's like, is that kind of transitioning to that one being the main one, or?
Pretty much. I mean, our member list is like a place for everyone to connect and to promote themselves. And then the new platform that we just migrated to now this year is got classifieds, announcements, and then a job board. So we're kind of implementing that here at the end of the year to get everybody to start using those so they can kind of, get work going and in between the membership. Yeah.
No, that sounds good. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, I mean, like touching on the, what does the CFVA provide the Denver filmmaking community and its members? You mentioned the production guide.
Yeah.
I guess, how, aside from that guide, I guess that's the main thing, but like, do you guys help people line up jobs? And it sounds like, this board is meant to do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we want, is everyone just kind of working together to, and a lot of it is just regulation, in the sense that like, oh, you're a CFVA member and you're a CFVA member, like, you can trust the fact that they work in this industry, and there's, they can always come to us as a board and let us know if anything is happening, as to where, Facebook and some of these other outlets are still kind of the Wild West. I mean, you get somebody who comes in, I got a gig, and then they never pay. Like between CFVA members, that's not something we often see, because it's like you're paying dues into an organization that's, we work with so many other organizations in the city, like Cinema and Cinefe and the Film Office, like all those relationships are there to benefit the members. And, we're able to, focus on more on educational. And that's what we've shifted the last, I'd say 3 years since I've been on the board with everyone is as many pros as pros, where we've had, directors that are from around the world and producers and pitchathons and, all those kind of things that help the members learn on how to be ready to work in the industry. And then we take those videos and we record them and have them on the website for everyone to watch. If they're a member, it unlocks it,
Okay.
And so really the educational side. And then we also have, obviously our monthly schmoozers. So just networking, just get people to work together and meet each other, get to know each other. That's pretty popular. But like our State of the State is again, a joint effort where we get everybody together in the C Film Center, and we've got the film office and SAG and IATSE, and everybody's there, and we kind of lead the charge on that, as well as our summer barbecue, all of our schmoozers, the Halloween party, the holiday party. This year we're putting together the New Year's Eve bash. Just kind of what I found was interesting when I did it last year, and I would say there's like 30 people, which is great. I thought that was amazing. I'm hoping we have more for this next year. But what was nice was that almost like, I don't know, 2/3 of those people were like, I just moved here.
Right.
They knew no one, and I was like, that's really lonely. Like I've been there,
Sure.
You're on New Year's and there's like nobody around and you don't know anybody really. And, I think it's a good time to be somewhere where other people that don't know each other are, and now you know them.
Totally. Well, how can someone become a member, and you've definitely hit the highlights of some of the benefits within that, but like, how does someone become a member, website, sign up form?
You just go to CFVA.com. We have our membership, sign up form on there, and you just pay directly. And we have a student membership. We have our standard, individual membership. If you're just a single person, is $75 for the year. And it's a one-time payment. The nice thing is we've built a platform now where, we want to provide value before you pay. And so we have it set up for, I believe it's 45 days. So when you put your credit card in to become a member of the CFVA for the $75 individual membership, you get 45 to 60 days before it charges you.
Oh, wow. That's cool. Just to make sure you like it.
Yeah. So, we've had people come to a party and be like, I was going to pay the $10. I was like, well, just sign up and you don't even have to pay. Just, put your info in and sign up. And once you do, it'll charge you in 45 days. And by then you've pretty much gone through potentially two schmoozers and stuff. And
right.
I always tell people I don't know, from the CFVA alone, I've easily gotten 1 to 2 jobs a year easily just from somebody saying, oh, you got to work with Brandon. I get, that's more than $75,
Sure. So for the events, you can pay $10 to go to, if you're not a member.
If you're not a member,
okay.
You can just pay $10, come to any event, any schmoozer. So we've got our individual membership. We have what's called boutique. So it comes with 5 individual memberships in a packet, but it allows them to have sponsorship on the website. So that goes into our boutique sponsors page. And, we spend time on Zoom calls with them and talking about what they want to get out of it. And can we have a schmoozer or a party at their facility so everyone gets to know their place, and then we have our corporate membership as well. So we have ones like $250, the others like $500 or something like that.
Okay.
And, that allows them to have more memberships. So the same thing is you have 7 or 8 or.
I was going to say if it's a couple people in a company. Okay.
Yeah. So for the boutique, it's, a few members, 3 to 5, something like that. And then it's 5 to 8 for that. And it's here's, your whole team can be a member and go to any of the events. And that's good because you got to split up duties when,
Sure.
You're a bigger company. So.
Well, that's cool. Yeah. Can you, how do people find out about these events? Is there a calendar on the website that people should know about?
So on the CFA.com site, there's an events calendar, and you just go there, and we're actually posting a lot of other events from other organizations. So WIFMCO, this Cinefe, Cinema, anybody that is another organization is sending us their stuff, and we're putting it on our site as well, just to keep everyone informed. It's really great. This industry is all built off of relationships, and this market is so small compared to, LA or others. It's important to build a strong foundation with all the organizations because it's having one organization that has 1,000 members and the others have like 10 doesn't benefit anyone.
Right, right.
So it's really great that there's a really good mix. I think a lot of us have, between 100 to 400 members each, and when you do that math, it's like, okay, great. Everyone has their side of the, city and whatnot, but it's more catered to their people.
Sure. Can you elaborate on the events? I mean, you hit some of them, but throughout the year, what are some of the highlights? And you did mention a few, but just to kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, mainly kind of like the state of the state, and then, our holiday party. One of the key things we're changing up for this year is generally the holiday party, we try to make it, red carpet, right?
Cool.
Sip and repeat. We want it to be like, like an award show feel without really doing awards. But this year, we're working with the C Film Center. We're a sponsor for the Denver Film Fest as well as the C. So we are having it there, having the party there. We have a nice big party, but also we have reserved one of the theaters. And so we have a really nice long window of like 2 to 3 hours, and they will take our file. And so we're going to be getting submissions now from all of our members to send their short films, all their projects, things that they want to be seen on the big screen. And we'll cut that into back-to-back and then kind of give everyone the schedule. We'll start at 7 p.m., let's say. And so, you can say, hey, the title of this project plays at 7:15. And I think that's, key is that most people in this industry want to see their stuff on the big screen. It really does. I don't know, it changes you a bit when you get to see your stuff on the big screen and you're like, oh my gosh, we did it. This is cool. We got to, experience what it's like to have something on the big screen.
Yeah, and to watch it with an audience is always pretty eye-opening, just to kind of feel through
that's true.
The engagement and stuff like that, moment to moment.
Yeah, somebody laughs or
exactly.
Crying or something.
Yeah, right. Well, that's cool, man. Hell yeah. All right. So you got the events here. What about grants and stuff? I know we talked about that before we just jumped on the podcast. Are there grants that you guys do? Any kind of contests that filmmakers should be aware of? Or
I mean, we've done, usually at a lot of our bigger events, we've done some contests, like the Halloween party, we had the best dressed, kind of stuff. Cool. Everyone votes and they get a $100 gift card kind of stuff. But we haven't relaunched it yet because we're finalizing some programs with the film office and such. So once we kind of finalize those, we'll have some more grant opportunities. But we had like the Latinx grant, and we had just a lot of different kinds of like $500 grants that we put together. And a lot of it is based off of how many members that year, and just getting more and more people involved. And so one of the things that we made an effort for this year to do was to focus on the back end of the CFVA, like all the infrastructure. So like when I became president, I was like, okay, we got to fix like all this stuff.
That's cool. Yeah.
Everything was in a Word doc, or what I mean? Like everything's in a Google Doc, and it's like, okay, this is crazy. We need to, kind of have these repeatable processes. So, we've gone through everything and added like ClickUp, which is just organization tools, so that we've gotten everybody on the team on there. We've also integrated it into the website. So, what happens is if somebody says I need to get a hold of the board, they just go to the website and can contact us. In that form, when it gets filled out, goes to ClickUp. One of our team gets a notification automatically, and then they start taking care of it. If whoever needs to be involved, either fix the issue or take care of them. And so there's better response across the board, which is great. And so, just integrating that of like, keeping everybody accountable and doing the thing. Because I mean, the board is all volunteer, and so every year you get turnover on the board. We're fortunate enough that when I joined in 2021, I think we had the same board pretty much for 3 years. We had a lot of the same people.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And so we still have a lot of, I would say, we still have like me and Noah and Jeanette, and it's like, okay, we've been here since then, and we're kind of getting everyone that's new in the fold and getting them to learn the system so they can kind of take it over. And that's what you're hoping for, is setting up the next generation for success.
Sure. So aside from becoming a member, like how can people get involved on that front, whether it's like being a board member or donating or sponsoring or even just like volunteering for events?
We do have a volunteer page on the website now. You can fill out the volunteer form. We also have the Pros Ask Pros form. So if you feel like you have some like knowledge that pertains to the industry, just go ahead and fill that out. And, we offer a $150 stipend for that. So anybody who does a Pros Ask Pros, for their time gets paid. And then, if they go on the site and, when, like I said, we'll just hit the volunteer form, we've got some folks that are doing like social media work or, just some behind the scenes stuff and just really helping the board. And then come December, we start getting everything ready for the next board elections, which generally start in January.
Okay.
So January, February, and then March, the new board comes in. And so we do a retreat, get everyone trained, get everyone started, and, trying to really just make it as effective as possible because, everyone's time is valuable. And what happens is like it's really slow in the winter. So like March, everyone's like, this is gung-ho, this is great. And then come summer, it's like, I don't know, the tumbleweed comes, coming by and there's nobody around. So everyone's busy, they're out shooting, flying around.
Sure.
And it's like, so trying to balance that and be, respectful of everyone's time and energy and what can be done remote. And that's been a big learning curve, I think, for everyone.
Sure. How does someone become a board member? Like you just apply, or do you have to campaign for yourself?
So you do campaign actually in a sense. You can record a little video of yourself and submit that. There's a form to fill out and kind of put your history and your experience and why you want to be on the board. That gets put out to all the members and everyone votes, and it comes back through, I believe it's Election Buddy, and it just tells us, cool, who got the most votes, and then that gets put in and they get elected to the board. And what we've kind of found is that I'd say 8 to 10 board members has been really good for us. Over the first year, I think I got on with 15 or 16. And, it's just really difficult because everyone's like, well, I don't know if I'm being heard. And I'm like, well, there's 16 people in here. It's just really hard to be heard. There's so many people. But now it's like, you live and you learn. And one thing I've always noticed is that it's great for folks in the industry that are out there working. Like if you are thinking of starting a corporation or a company and you want to learn how a board is ran and stuff like that, it's really great experience, to get on the board and just kind of start at the bottom of learning, I'm going to help the members out. Let me just, assist members. You can do that and great. Then you can be on the board, and what you learn is just how a board operates and divvying tasks out and getting things done and meeting and voting on issues and setting the agendas and the track of where things are going, so everyone kind of has their thing. So one of our big things that we haven't talked about yet would be our mentorship program. So that's near and dear to Noah. He's led the charge on that for years. And really it's just, pairing people up. I do audio, so who's interested in audio, and then we meet online, we meet in person. I kind of go through, all my tips and tricks in the audio world, and then that's valuable, and so we're getting all of our members to say who can be a mentor, who can be a mentee.
Right.
If you go to the mentorships page, there's 2 forms on there, so you can fill out a mentor and a mentee. If you want to be a mentee for something, but you have a good knowledge in web design or something, just put a mentorship, a mentor application in for web design, because there's somebody out there that most likely wants, needs info or needs to learn and wants to learn. So, we tell everyone, fill out both if you can. What do you want to learn and what do you want to teach? And we start pairing everyone up.
Oh, that's cool. I was going to touch on that. And then same with the Pros Ask Pros. What is that exactly again?
Yeah, so the Pros Ask Pros is a 1 hour just learning module. So, this last one, we had a commercial director talk about the industry. He was a comedy director. He does a lot of comedy and documentarian, right? So he was doing tons of documentaries, and he kind of mixes those two. And so he's talking about, bidding on projects and how they come to him, or what he's always every project he was saying that he gets involved in, or that somebody comes to him. He has, he looks at everything he's ever done and he cuts that into a reel for them and sends it to them. But their budgets are $500,000 to $1 million a project, so it's just a different ball game. But to know that kind of level compared to just meeting somebody, shaking their hand and putting together a project for $10,000 or something.
Right.
And you're like, wow, that's a ton of money. And you're like, no. These guys are doing $500,000 one-day shoots.
Right.
it's a different ball game. So you got to
Yeah.
like, how do you sell yourself and the way he operates? So that video is up for all of our members to see, and they can learn like super valuable information that was in that call.
No, that's cool. Yeah. How do I get to that point now? I want to do $500,000 day budgets. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, no, I think we covered quite a bit. Anything else that people should know about as far as like, what you guys offer, how people can get involved, just in case we missed anything?
Yeah, I mean, just show up, I think that's the key is just, look at what we're doing, where we're at, coming up in November. I don't know, when this is coming up, but like coming up in November, we're doing a pub crawl.
Yep.
So we're just like, we've never done something where we just kind of move from place to place. So let's just go down near the ball field. We'll start down there, and we've got a kind of a little map we're putting together with a little scavenger hunt.
Oh,
kind
cool.
of a deal. You know what I mean? So everyone can have fun. Hopefully we'll pair everybody up in groups of people they don't know, get some shared experiences going, and a few drinks, and then,
Awesome.
let them loose.
Yeah. Love it. No, cool. Yeah. And I'm sure that great networking and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as far as like advice for filmmakers or production people, that are trying to break into the industry,
Yep.
like, what would be kind of your words of advice for those folks that might be listening?
Yeah. I mean, if you're just starting out, join as a student member. If you're a student, get in there and meet with professionals and be a part of the mentorship program. And we definitely like focus on students highly, getting them in front of professionals that have been doing this for decades. For Colorado compared to like California or anywhere else, I mean, if you have the means, it's good to go out to California for a weekend or something. And, if you know anyone in the industry out there, we have some old, past members we can connect people with, but like go out there for a weekend and see how it is and like see how they operate out there, and then come back and realize that, just because you're in California doesn't mean they do things so differently. I mean, I find that our sets in Colorado have actually been more like organized and professional at times,
Sure.
that we've had incredible teams out here that are, just, they have such volume in California that you kind of get they're just nonchalant, like, oh, I've got 10 gigs. Like, you're blessed to have me on set, right? And do this for you, versus like so thankful. And I think in Colorado, everyone's so thankful to be doing something they love.
Yeah, right.
and actually being in this industry that they really take it near and dear and put their soul into it and do amazing work. And so I've seen that difference in Colorado, compared to there. But like, one of the big things we see if you go out to California is, just every night of the week, in a sense, there is a industry party. It could be almost any one of the stages, or, a bar over here is having a release, or these people have a red carpet. There's always some kind of an industry event going on. And, in Colorado, that's pretty sparse. Like, we don't really have a lot of red carpet events going on. You don't have like a Beverly Hills mansion that's having a big event,
Sure,
right?
sure.
You know what I mean? Like all these kind of things that just wander, that connect people. And so we have to make those things, and it only happens if people get off their couch, go out, be social. It's not comfortable, especially what we've all been through with the pandemic and stuff like that. I get it. I mean, everybody kind of went introverted a bit, but it's like, save up your energy, get out there, meet people, get your name in people's phones and start texting them and meeting up and make some friends, and then go hit the bars with them and just kind of get to know them as real people.
No, for sure. Yeah, and it's all about who you know, networking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I would encourage everybody to become a member, check out that event schedule. You guys put on some great events, and I've been going to them and I love them. That barbecue was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And we had great weather. That was a crazy thing. It was like going to snow, and then all of a sudden the sun came out. It was great.
Colorado. Yeah. Cool. Well, how can people stay up to date, like with the CFVA, website, again, social media channels?
Yeah, definitely check. I mean, Instagram's probably the most active. So Instagram, Facebook. If you do sign up, you'll be on the newsletter. And I think you can even sign up for the newsletter separately if you want on the website. But just, get on the newsletter. We have like 2,000 people on the newsletter. So, it's a lot of connection there. And, a lot of people see that and just show up.
Cool.
So get involved.
Awesome. All right. And then, just the website one more time.
CFVA.com.
Sweet. Well, Brandon, thank you so much for coming on here. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I definitely wanted to highlight you guys. You guys do great work, and I appreciate all the events that you guys put on. I love going to them and chatting with everybody. And yeah, thank you so much again for doing this.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me.
This is Set Talks, the podcast that helps you navigate and connect with the Colorado film scene. Thanks for tuning in.